I was always the black sheep of my family. I wanted my greens, you know, kind of broiled or boiled rather than in ham hocks, you know, and that put me on the outside. When I wanted my tea, I didn't want 3/4 of the glass to be filled with sugar. I took my tea just with the tea, and I was Poindexter Jr., that's what they call me. And Beverly says, I don't know what you've done with these pies, but what I did, I took a family recipe and I converted it to who I was. I gave myself to my history that I had been ashamed of. I changed the sugar to raw cane. Instead of putting butter and in a crust, I did a dry crumble crust. So I was taking this to parties when my friends would invite me because I had no money and there was nothing else I could really do. It was a love offering. And when I was living in this alley, I was making these pies and I was breathing in God's love and I was breathing out fear. I was breathing in wisdom from the cosmos and I was breathing out ignorance. I was breathing in peace and I was breathing out every form of violence that I carried in with me, with the resentment of growing up in segregated South, with the resentment of being different from others, with the resentment of losing who I thought I was. And this saved me. Love saved me. So long story short, someone from Martha Stewart Living and the Food Network came by a farmer's market in Santa Monica where I was vending my pies. The one thing I had was the pies. And they picked it up and the momentum went from there.
Good pies.
Yes. And then again, you know, what am I going to do? There was no business plan. I always say, people say, well, what was your business plan when you started? You know, I was a person that had business experience, but there was no plan. What I'm saying is that love did me. You know, it was nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with putting your heart and soul into something. And so this continued to build and grow. And so I decided to do my original idea that I presented to Procter & Gamble back in 1986, Urban Green. So where we are right now, and I had brought some video to show you what we do and how we do it. But everything came from that breathing in of love and breathing out that fear. And what I called the product was the sweet spot because it represented that place that I call the heart, the home. It represented the sun, the light, and everything that is love. So from that one item, what we've done is we've built 3 urban farms. What Urban Green does is the same concept I presented to Procter & Gamble, is that we take from seed, we do urban development in really in urban settings. You know, congested areas. We'll take a vacant lot. We did a project with the state of California where we took a brownfield, we did the soil remediation. I removed 3,000 square feet of asphalt and we built urban farms where people walk, where people live, where the community is. And then we harvest from there, and I bring it to my now 5,000 square foot kitchen where we produce foods that we have a contract with Whole Foods. We do several farmers markets. I used to do 10, I've dropped it to 2 because the catering and the manufacturing is our focus now. And then we take the waste product from that production facility and we send it back to these urban farms scattered in dense parts of LA in the way of compost. We try to create value-added products out of it. We like to do, with our catering business, we would like to create soaps from some of the oil that is left in the residue. We're developing, you know, high-grade compost so that other people can build gardens, and we're teaching this simple system of repurposing our urban environment to empower communities to feed themselves. One thing I learned from growing up in the Air Force is that, I'll be quite honest, United States citizens, if you are a citizen and not a consumer, was sold out 50 years ago. You know, I've seen America shift. I've seen LA build, and on the outside it looks, LA looks more beautiful than when I moved here, but at the core it's rotten, and it continues to, we don't replace our infrastructure. So what I'm saying to you is I am part of your community, that we are the people. So the most important thing I can say is that I'm not an expert. Don't listen to anyone that claims to be an expert. We're humans. It's very important that you as an individual and you as a community get together to take control of the food source for your own lives, because there's no mistake that there's Crystals and McDonald's and fast food restaurants in your community. It's no mistake that you have more liquor stores than you have co-ops. You know, people always think that, well, it's a mistake. It's not. It's done purposely. You know, that's why the TV is there, to keep you unfocused from what is going on in your life.
Yeah.
You have control, but we don't exert it. You know, we continue to allow the diversions. You know, the stars. There's a reason why they call them stars. So that you're looking up and not looking inside. Everything that you need to know is inside you. I had $36 when I started, 2 weeks before 9/11. We do about $500,000 worth of business. We repurposed that in the city, you know, on the project at the Historic State Park. We reinvested $50,000 in that project. And then the project was closed because of the situation with the state. So, but we didn't let that stop us. We moved that farm. In a period of 1 month, I moved a farm and my entire kitchen facility. And let me tell you, I know some people in this room, and I don't have the talent that they have. So if there's anyone here that questions themselves, there's nothing special about me other than I took action. So that's what I'm asking you today. You know, I'm not a professional speaker. All I want to do is encourage you, that tell you from my empirical experience that I started with less than nothing, with $36, living in an alley in Venice. And now my life is more beautiful than I ever could have imagined it. And it's because of the community that embraced what we do. So now I'm challenging, you know, all of you here in Leimert Park and the surrounding communities and all over Los Angeles, because there's not a better proving ground than the West Coast. You know, I moved out here from New York and Chicago. I mean, you have sunshine here. You have all these rooftops, you know, that collect water, that are black tops that just reflect the sun back up. We're trying to convince developers to take these rooftops, put, you know, 3-inch membranes on the rooftops that can take the weight, and build urban farms on these rooftops, so that the sun is not reflecting the black right up into the sky, so that when it does rain, when it rains, you don't have the water runoff and all the pollution coming down and going into the ocean. Because we are part of the ocean, and when that runoff and that pollution goes to the ocean, it's getting in every one of your food sources, and it's getting into every one of your bodies. But don't let fear come into the picture, because you really do have control. So in closing, I'm going to say, just start where you are. You know, I started where I was with an organic pie. And from that, you know, we have 2 different product lines. And we can just keep expanding. And I've just started a new urban farm at a deserted paint factory in downtown near the UPS at 651 Clover. So listen to your internal selves. Don't listen to the outside.
Yeah.
Don't let fear stop you from taking action today.
Yes.
Support the co-op in this community. Thank you.